Hey guys, how's it going? And happy Friday. I mean that. I hope some of you guys are happy tonight, and I want to encourage you guys as much as I can. But here's the thing, I've been doing these streams on here for about 3 years now, and I've enjoyed many, many hours with all of you, and I've grown to care about a lot of you. And while I always want to be encouraging, and I'm going to encourage you guys the best I can tonight, I'm not just going to sit there and lie to you. That'd be an insult to you guys' intelligence. There's lots of things to be happy about. And you guys are really going to need to find some strength somehow, because this country's falling apart or has already fallen apart. Let me know down in the chat. I might not be able to read all of it as I'm live in real time, but I do read all of it afterwards. I'm going to talk about this killing in Texas. You guys see it, it's right there in the title. And you do you and I'll do me, but I'm going to ask you guys this question right now to start it off with. The thin blue line? What do you guys think about that thin blue line? Seriously, it's an honest question. It's something we need to think about. And then the other thing I want to talk about tonight is, how much gun control are we going to get? I mean, we already have 24,000 federal gun control laws and regulations right now, and probably a couple thousand more that the AFT knows about. And you're not allowed to know about it unless or until you get caught doing it. Mess around and find out. Or just be so scared of the federal government, get rid of all your guns, because you're probably breaking 10 or 20 gun control laws right now. Now, I know someone's saying, but hold on, I'm law-abiding. No, even you, no matter how law-abiding you think you are, you're probably breaking 10 or 20 laws right this minute, and you don't even know it. 24,000 gun control laws and regulations. I don't think there's really a lot of opinion in this, but tell me if I've got this wrong, okay? Clearly, the American people are fine with that. Let's just establish that as a baseline. The American people are completely fine with 24,000 plus federal gun control laws and regulations. I mean, obviously, because that's how many we have. And we allowed our government to put those in place. And we allowed tyranny. And we allowed ourselves to be afraid, because when people fear the government, there's tyranny. But when the government fears the people, there's liberty. And everyone I know is too scared of the government right now to even consider liberty. I don't know. Where are you guys at with this? I mean, there's literally so much stuff going on right now that is like completely insane. Stuff that maybe I read about and say, well, maybe in Cambodia that might go on and stuff. And maybe in that Reich that lasted 1,000 years in Germany and stuff like that, you know. But in America? The United States of America? I'm serious, guys. It's a really tough topic. It's a really tough topic. But the best you guys want to, tell me where you're at with this. The thin blue line, it's called. What do you guys think of that right now with what happened in Texas? And I'm going to talk about some new information that's being widely reported by what I consider pretty reputable sources. Hopefully it's wrong, but you guys know that whole thing about hoping and wishing. Wish in one hand and poop in the other and see which one fills up first. And geez, oh Pete, all of our toilets are going to be clogged if we try to empty that hand the way things are going lately, right? How much gun control are we going to get, guys? How much do we deserve? Ben Franklin talked about this topic. Those who would give up an essential liberty for a little bit of perceived security deserve neither security nor safety, and will wind up with neither. And we're becoming less free every day, every minute, literally every second. I have no doubt that literally in the time it took me to complete this sentence, we probably just lost the free exercise of another God-given right. That's how fast it's going right now. It's going fast. It's going so fast, if you even try to look at it, the blur and the whir of all of it would probably make you pass out and get sick to your stomach. which is no doubt all part of the plan, and clearly a very, very successful plan by the government, by the whatever. Not the United States of America, not the United States government. I'm going to ask another question in the chat because I'm trying to think of new names. What should we call this country right now? Because the United States of America is supposed to be a country of the people, by the people, for the people, and that our rights are endowed by our Creator. We're all created equal, and we are endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights. And among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What about the life of all those kids, by the way? The police were just following orders. What about their lives? Just following orders. Do you guys remember the Nuremberg trials? Just following orders. And they said it doesn't matter. Life in prison, off with your head. That's what happened then. I wonder what would happen if the Nuremberg trials happened today. They were just following orders. What am I supposed to do? I'll just stand and mill around in the hallway, mill around in the parking lot for an hour straight. Just following orders. I mean, come on. Think about that for a minute. That's the government. This is the government right now. The government's way too powerful, guys. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that's where we're at right now. And what should we call this country? Because the United States of America was founded on a principle that the only reason the government would exist at all is to protect your natural rights, your rights that were endowed by your Creator. Literally, like it's literally in the Declaration of Independence. That is the only reason the government would exist at all, and it would only exist by the consent of the governed. The left end of the spectrum hates the government, and probably about 99% of my values, I'm probably about as right as it gets. Very, very conservative in so many ways. And I probably hate the government more than any Antifa member or BLM member that you've seen. I'm not even joking. Of all the things we disagree on, nobody likes the government. Some conservatives do. Some neocons do. Some warmongers do. Badge wearers, oath keepers, oath breakers do. A lot of them. Some of them don't. A lot of them will put down their badges too. You know what I'm saying? The United States of America, as codified in the 10th Amendment to the Bill of Rights, this is part of the Constitution. This is supposed to be the supreme law of the land. It says, except for the very, very specific enumerated rights of the federal government, the rest of the rights would be to the states. Okay? So the government would get like a handful of rights and powers that are delegated by the people at the consent of the governed. That's the whole principle of what this country is supposed to be. Then the states would get substantially more than that, but then the rest of it, which is 99%, would be to the people. And to the people, respectively to the people. That's what the 10th Amendment says. In the Bill of Rights, as amended to the United States of America Constitution, the Constitution is no longer the rule of law in this country, guys. I'm not trying to give you a black pill. I'm just being honest with you. The Constitution is not the rule of law, although it says it is in the United States of America. So help me come up with a new name. What's the name of this place we live in? Because I might be missing something here, and I hope you guys can help me understand this a little bit. And I'm going to look for you guys' support and maybe some of your wisdom. I know probably most of you, if not all of you, are smarter than me, but I'm thinking about this. I'm like, how can we even be the United States of America when they literally ignore every founding principle there is? Not only does the government ignore it, but the government strives to circumvent all of our rights. You know, I knew things were going to be bad when a former vice president was occupying Pennsylvania Avenue. I knew it was going to be really bad. A lot of us did. A lot of us did. And I'd like to say more about that, but I actually can't right now because I'm on YouTube. And there's just a lot of stuff you can't say on here, period. Okay? You guys do understand that, right? Like, we are on YouTube right now. It's owned by Google. It's owned by a corporation called Alphabet. I'm not joking. That's literally who sends you your tax paperwork. We are with the Alphabet Corporation right now. Some people don't seem to understand that. 2A Edu, why don't you show this in your video? Why don't you talk about that? I can't because the muzzle's too tight. I'm on YouTube. And I'm also on locals, but 200 people will watch here and 27 will watch on locals, which is awesome. And I'm going to talk about guns on locals this weekend, just so you guys know. The United States Constitution literally is supposed to be the law of the land. The Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence set forth the principles of what this country would be. None of it's being followed. It's all being circumvented. How much gun control do we deserve? That's the other part of the title. I don't know. Now, when I say we, I mean we the people collectively. I want to make this clear. A lot of these topics I'm talking about. I have a lot of questions about the police. Does that mean every last police officer everywhere is some demonic, terrible thing? No, nothing's that simple in life, okay? Everybody's not just one thing, but the topic's certainly worth discussing right now, I think. When I say we the people, how much gun control do we deserve? I'm kind of talking about like literally you that's watching and listening right now, but I'm not like specifically, because probably if everyone in America was even half as active and patriotic as all of us, we probably wouldn't have any gun control at all, like literally zero. And that's what we would have to still be America, because the law of the land says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. It tells you why right there. Like it's literally necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And if you consider yourself a law-abiding American, that's the law of the land. And anyone that puts on a badge to uphold the law and violates the law of the land is a criminal and an oath breaker. And they are repugnant to the Constitution, and they are repugnant to America if they enforce any law that violates the United States Constitution. And that's not me saying that. That's what the founding fathers said when they created this country. That's what Marbury v. Madison said. One of the very first Supreme Court cases, all laws that are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. So someone's going to get mad at me, and you can get mad at me all you want. Okay? It's fine. I get it. Look, I care, but I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I actually only care about the good people on here. The people that want to be haters, I don't care about you because I don't care about hate. I don't like hate. I don't like hateful government. I don't like hateful people, but anybody who would uphold any law that is repugnant to the Constitution is a traitor and is not a real American and should be ashamed of themselves. And anybody who puts on a badge, in my opinion, even though I get it, a recent Supreme Court case said the police have no duty to protect any individual person. That's literally what the Supreme Court said. I believe police officers also do an oath to the Constitution. Or do they only do an oath to following orders? What about the military? When you're in the military, you take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic, or do you take an oath to follow orders? I didn't serve. Let me know. Let me know if there's any police officers somehow still watching, which would be miraculous, but at the same time, I get it. It's not all one thing. If there's a police officer in here right now, let us know what goes on. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Whose lives does that protect? Does it only protect police officers' children's lives? Does it only protect the rich and connected lives? Does it only protect old people or middle-aged people? Does it protect young people? Does it protect children? By the way, abolish the Department of Education. Every public school should be closed down right now. They're all indoctrination camps. I've never said that before. It's not Second Amendment related. That's why our country's in the trouble we're in, amongst many, many reasons. So while these kids are in this indoctrination camp, a psychopath, a very evil, demonic person. And there's always going to be evil in this world, guys. This is a battle of good versus evil, and it always has been, and it always will be. And evil will always prevail, and always has been, when good men do nothing, and evil's prevailing right now because good men are doing nothing. And in Texas, people that put on badges did next to nothing. And they're repugnant to the Constitution, and they're repugnant, period, in my opinion. In my opinion. Now, a crazed psychopath goes into a school. He was so poor, they said. They said he got made fun of by a lot of people, a lot of kids. That might have been why he was so hateful. It might have been why he was so angry, but he was so poor. That's one of the reasons he got made fun of. Had on my estimation from what the reports are saying, between the two Daniel defense rifles that are over $2,000 a piece and all the other kit, he had to borrow 50 cents from lunch money a couple days earlier, but now he had $5,000 in kit. I'm going to be very careful how I word this, but that just makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Let me see here. Broke is a joke, blah, blah, blah. Let me back up a little bit before I go through the narrative of what's being widely reported right now. And this is obviously for disclaimer reasons, since I'm on YouTube. This is all my commentary and my opinion, obviously. Hillary just had her former right-hand man rat her out in court, said she was behind the dossier. She was behind this. She was behind that. That was news for 1 second, because then the Texas thing happened. I mean, that's just a coincidence, obviously. But hold on a minute. Supreme Court was just getting ready to lay down their decision on Bruin versus the New York Pistol and Rifle Association. They haven't released that yet, because as we found out about the leaked Roe v. Wade, until they publish it, so they do the final publishing, they can retract their decision and re-vote again. That's a total coincidence. I mean, obviously, right, Susan Wiki? Total coincidence that it buried the lead on Hillary and many others. Damning information in that testimony in court. Hi, Susan Wiki. One of the biggest landmark Second Amendment Supreme Court cases was due to come out like literally that day or the next day. Has it come out yet? I wonder why. Total coincidence. Do you guys remember back in that Vegas shooting? The Hearing Protection Act, Paul Ryan was going to put it on a House floor the next day. Mitch McConnell said, we've got the votes in the Senate. Trump said he was going to sign it. And then that happened in Vegas. Wow. I mean, there's just a lot of coincidences, guys, in all of this stuff. I mean, clearly. So this deranged psychopath goes into the school. As far as I can tell, they still haven't released any type of coherent timeline. Lots of questions about that with no timeline. Now, look, they can literally tell you by your social media and your GPS, and they have satellites that can read the date on a dime when you're holding it from outer space. They know everything you say. They literally, algorithms on sites like Facebook, this has been proven, literally knows when you go to the bathroom and what you eat. So when you're sitting on the toilet, they'll suggest ads for toiletries. Look it up if you guys want to go into a rabbit hole. That's how much they know about you, but nobody has any clue what the timeline is. We don't know what's going on. Now, there's this school in Texas, and they have their own police, from what I understand. Just so happened to be known we're working that day. Total coincidence, Susan. I mean, obviously a coincidence. They have a strict regiment for safety. Remember what Ben Franklin said about counting on the government for safety? Yeah, you'll deserve neither and wind up with neither. The doors are always locked during the school day. They said they were always locked, always locked. Protocol. total coincidence that they just happen to not be locked. So this guy wrecks his car, okay, out in front of the school, reportedly, allegedly. Has time to take, from what I understand, this is just what's been reported. This is just an opinion show, Susan. I'm treading on thin ice tonight, guys. Has time to take a few pop shots at some sort of funeral or funeral home, something like that, right? Barney Fife sitting there, shooting his foot off with his 6-shooter or something. Who knows? I have no clue. I have no clue. If I was a taxpayer, I'd say, I hope the people can hold their own trial. I don't mean through the regular. I believe, in my opinion, the court system would not give these police officers a fair trial. I hope the people can get a fair trial. Anyways, he goes into school through the unlocked door. I mean, no big deal. It's just a bunch of kids that are in a concentration camp. I mean, indoctrination camp to turn them into communists. Maybe we're going to, boys and girls, what are we going to do today? All who want to identify as a dog, let me know. Okay, 5 dogs in the class. We need leashes. Who identifies as a cat? Meow, meow, meow. Litter box in the bathroom. Litter box in the bathroom. Okay. Yeah. Are you a boy? You're a girl? Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you just be both? Why don't you just try it out and see what you think? Public school. Okay. They're in the school. Goes in there, and again, the timeline's very sketchy. They could literally tell you, these intelligence agencies, like every word you've spoken in the last 10 years. That's how heightened the security state is. They had no idea. They have no idea what the timeline is. We don't know. I mean, what are you guys talking about? What do you mean timeline? But most consensus of the news reporting is for 1 hour, this dude's in the school. For 1 hour. One hour? You could have probably got 6,000 Marines deployed there in an hour. I say Marines because they're the fastest deployable branch of the armed services, right? Always have been. That's kind of the Marines' claim to fame. You could have like 6,000 Marines almost anywhere in the world in an hour. I think anywhere in the world in an hour. That's what I've heard before. Dozens of cops show up. It's been reported. I'm going to say this, been reported. I've heard Jack Prosobic talking about this. I've heard Steve Bannon talking about this. Tim Pool. That some of the cops that had kids in that school, they went and got their kids out real quick. Did you guys hear about that? So this crazy psychopath's in there shooting like fish in a barrel, killing children. And from what I understand, the police were able to get their kids out first. That's what's been reported, in my opinion. But they can't go in there and stop him. They can't figure out what to do. So this ticks on, and people say this lasted for up to an hour. Now, meanwhile, it's been reported there's 911 calls coming in from the kids in the school saying, save us. Nobody's coming to help. There were still people alive. It's being reported now for quite a long time. Now, they couldn't hold on the full hour, obviously. When you have a severe wound like that, sometimes you need medical care within minutes. From what I understand, the police were there within 2 minutes, but he was allowed unchecked to keep going through for an hour. Now, I wish that was it, but it's also been reported it was even worse than that. Because as a lot of us understand, the only thing that can stop a good guy with a gun, or a bad guy with a gun, is a good guy with a gun. We understand that. And you'd think the police would have been the good guys to stop bad guy with a gun. They couldn't stop it, or wouldn't stop it. I don't know. You tell me if you know. I mean, it has to be one or the other. They either couldn't stop it, or they wouldn't stop it. But there were some parents that were armed. There were kids that were able to call their parents and say, come up to the school. This has been going on for like a long time, like maybe an hour. Parents showed up and went in there to save their kids because the cops were doing nothing. They were doing nothing. Now, to me, if those cops were the good guys, they would have stopped the bad guy with the gun. So I can't call them good guys. I would say they're complacent in it. Somebody said they could be considered accomplice in it. I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar. But there were parents that showed up with guns and tried to get in there to save their kids. Like, what the heck? There's dozens of police milling around, and he's still allowed to just keep going and going. It's been reported now that up to 4 classrooms. This wasn't like he just went in one room, killed everyone in 5 minutes, and then sat there holed up for an hour, and the cops waited for the right strategy. From all of the reports that are coming out now, that does not appear to be what happened at all. And there were parents that showed up before he was done doing the shooting, like they could have possibly saved lives or died trying. How could any decent parent even live knowing that you have a gun and there was somebody hunting down your kid like an innocent beast of prey, and you didn't go in there and either stop them dead in their tracks or die trying? You'd have to die trying, wouldn't you? If you had any decent respect for yourself or morals or for anything, you'd have to die trying. I mean, that's why we're put here, right? On earth. And everybody doesn't have children for several reasons. But if you do have children, that's like your ultimate job, is to help provide their safety till they're old enough to provide the safety for themselves. Know what I said? It's never the government's job to provide safety. The government is only supposed to protect our natural rights so we can provide for our own safety. People have had that so wrong and so backwards for so long. And this is where we're at right now, okay? Because for so long, people said, the police will protect me. This will protect me. That will protect me. And no, we've always had to protect ourselves. But when some of the parents went there to try to protect their children, it's being reported, widely reported now, that the police physically restrained and stopped the parents from going in to protect their own children. So hold on a minute. I heard one parent was tased. I heard some were pepper sprayed, detained, held back by the police line. I wasn't there, but I'm just telling you guys what's being widely reported. Let me ask you guys something and see if this is just a coincidence or a total false analogy. You tell me. If you saw like a famous person or a celebrity or a rich person, because that's the only thing our country even cares about, obviously, and you see a famous person and they've got guys, usually, security detail that are armed. And if you try to get to that celebrity, the armed people stop you. Now, the former vice president has an armed security detail also that use AR-15s. And things like that. Now, the former vice president said the only thing that they're for is murder and all that. So I guess he's saying that all of his Secret Service agents must want to murder people because they carry those. And almost every single person that's serving in the United States Armed Forces carries those. So according to him, not me, obviously, but according to him, all of them want to just murder people. And with it being the most popular rifle, I guess almost everyone in America wants to. That's what they want you to think. But let me get back to what I was talking about here. When you try to get to somebody and armed people stop you, what are they called? Now, it's Secret Service. If it's the government, it could be the U.S. Marshals. If it's another branch of the government, like U.S. Marshals, for example, will have a security detail with Supreme Court justices. But let's go back to the civilian world. When somebody has armed people that prevent others from getting to them, there's a name for that. It's called bodyguards. Now, the police are milling around. We don't know what to do. What's going on? Run, run, run. Scream, scream, scream. Kids calling 911. Look, there's a certain point where you can call it gross incompetency, or you can call it other things. You actually could. I'm not going to right now, not on YouTube, but you can call it whatever you wanted. Now, there's a killer, an armed person. There's armed parents trying to get to that person. Obviously, to try to snuff him out to save their kids and other kids' lives. And armed men, the police, stop them from getting to the killer. Now, what did I just say it's called when you have armed people keeping people from getting to you? What would be called a bodyguard if you were trying to stop people from getting to a celebrity. You guys get the analogy I'm talking about here? It's kind of crazy. It's very, very scary. But I'm actually not even that surprised. I mean, I am, just because it's so horrific. I mean, geez, oh, Pete. I'm to the point now where it'll probably be impossible to even surprise me on anything I ever hear on the news. But I remember a time when they called it mostly peaceful protests. Do you guys remember that? Mostly peaceful protests. The cities were burning. Things were blowing up. Carnage all around. People getting killed. Billions of dollars in property damage. Loss of people's American dream. Building their own businesses. Building their home. Saving up for their home. Paying on the interest for 30 years and finally paying it off 50 years later. I mean, that's what it is for most people who buy a home or a business, right? Mostly peaceful protests. The police stood down. Watched it happen. I'm just following orders, they said. And I said, well, you know what, though? Antifa's really, really bad people. BLM, all that kind of stuff. We got to have the police's back. And then I noticed something. Stuff started shifting really quickly. Now, it was probably always this way, actually, and I just was naive because we've all been indoctrinated. I mean, clearly we've all been indoctrinated. We've somehow gone from the only reason a government would exist at all is to protect our natural God-given rights, and the Second Amendment saying the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, to 24,000 gun control laws. Clearly people have been indoctrinated in this country for a long time. Something kind of hit me the wrong way when I was like, well, hold on a minute. BLM was there trying to ruin a certain section of town a couple of years back. And a certain group of guys got together and said, no, we're going to stand here and protect our city. And they tried to protect and defend their city. The cops arrested all of them and let Antifa and BLM keep pillaging the city. I said, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute now. The conservatives are thin blue line. We're the ones that support the police. The vast majority of the people in the armed services are conservative and Republican and all. I mean, isn't that what you've always thought about before? And that's what we've been taught. That's what people say. There's probably people really mad at me right now that I'm even questioning it because you're such a good Republican and conservative. No, they arrested the good guys that were trying to protect their city. Then there was a barber in Michigan who tried to cut hair. And they came to shut his business down. Now, they got health orders from the police department, which mean nothing until thugs with badges show up and a gun. Because as twisted and sick and cruel as he was, I don't give him much credit, but he was right in one thing. When Chairman Mao of China, of the revolution in China, said all political power comes from the barrel of a gun, he got that exactly right. And that's literally provable. People with guns and badges that took oaths to uphold and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, came and shut down that barber shop and arrested. It's true. They were arresting people and giving people tickets for cutting hair. Although there's nowhere whatsoever in the Constitution that says you have these unalienable rights unless there's lots of people getting sick, unless there's that. No, there is no unless. It's all the time. And then I said, well, wait a minute. This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? The cops are on the side of liberty. Clearly, I mean, all these Republicans I know are waving their little thin blue line flags. They've got their come and take it with the cannon, you know, in one hand and their thin blue line in the other. Forgetting that during Hurricane Katrina, the cops came and confiscated all the guns from all the people who were the most vulnerable, that needed them the most. When gangbangers and hoodlums were stealing their food, pillaging what was left of their homes. Oh yeah, the police came and confiscated their guns from my cold dead hands in this hand and thin blue line in the other hand. Think about it. I was like, well, you know what, though? Maybe it's not that bad. It's getting pretty bad, though, in the last couple of years. And then I saw this guy. He was out in, I think it was California, and he was surfing. There was some pretty gnarly waves that day. He was out there doing the old hang 10 on a big 15-footer. Out of nowhere, here comes Barney Fife. Here comes Smokey the Bear. I'm like, what the heck's going on here? You guys can look this up if you don't believe me. And I watched them arrest a surfer in California because he was out there riding a wave because of the virus, because there was nobody within like 10 miles of him. And instead the cops came and like physically manhandled him and apprehended him on the beach in the name of not spreading a virus, supposedly, and stuff. He was like hundreds of yards from shore and there was no one for miles around, but they came and physically got in his... I saw that and I said, well, wait a minute now. And I asked some friends at the time. So here's the thing. Most people that are super far left won't even talk at all, so I can't have conversations with them, even though I would. We'd probably agree on some of this topic tonight quite a bit, actually. Now, for totally opposite reasons, right? We would have total different visions of what America should be out of the ruins after it was done or whatever. We would have total opposite visions of that, but we would maybe agree on the interim on a lot of things. But a lot of my conservatives, they said, dude, you can't blame the cops for that. They're just following orders. I said, oh, really? So do you blame all the people that were in that Third Reich for just following orders? Oh, well, you have to blame them because of yada, yada. And then there's this mental, you know what, that occurs. And it's like, I don't know. Antifa was destroying the city, and some local townsfolk came and tried to stop them from burning down their businesses and their houses, and the police arrested them and let them burn. Parents were trying to save their children that were in there getting shot for an hour straight. And the police prevented the parents from getting to their children, as reported, as widely reported. Are you guys just sitting here thinking right now? What can you really even say to that? Some people are running around saying F the police. Some people are saying support the thin blue line. Even harder. I don't know. I want to know what you guys have to say. And you don't have to say everything. You don't have to say everything publicly. I get it. Dude, we're all afraid to say anything. I get it. Everyone's scared and shaking like a leaf right now because we have a tyrannical government. And when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. And when the government fears the people, there's liberty. Liberty would be shall not be infringed, and there be no gun control laws at all. But clearly, we must deserve lots of gun control laws because we purchased a little bit of perceived security and safety from the government. And Ben Franklin knew what was going to happen back then because he had seen it happen in his former country of Great Britain. And he warned that this would happen again. And I saw somebody say we don't deserve any gun control, okay? I don't want to argue with you personally, but just think about it for a minute. Because my inclination to be, of course, we don't deserve. We deserve to be free. We deserve to be happy. But the government doesn't actually tell you that you're going to have happiness. It says the pursuit of happiness, right? Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You have to find that on your own. It also says a government that would only operate at the consent of the governed. People have consented so much to the government, and they have traded their liberty off for the purchase of a teeny bit of perceived security for so long. I would say we actually do deserve what's happened to us. Now, does that literally mean us right this second? No, but I mean like we the people that have spanned the last 240 years. Almost 250 years, actually. Time's flying, isn't it? And I think we're going to get red flag laws and universal background checks soon. I hope I'm wrong. I truly do. But if somebody were to ask me, people have been asking me, what do you think's going to happen? I don't want, obviously. I think we're going to have universal background checks and red flag laws. And when you combine them both together with the news, shoot, I reported on this 2 months ago. Apparently it's breaking again, even more confirmation that they have a full registry on everything. The only thing they don't know about is PMFs, they're called, privately made firearms. But they're working to end that loophole, as they like to call it. Can you believe the people of the United States? I mean, tell me the truth. Maybe you can believe it, maybe you can't. Can you believe that the people of the United States have become so weak and so complacent and spent so much time licking the boot they can't see the forest through the trees that we'd even allow them to call one of our God-given natural rights a loophole? The fact that any government official would be even allowed to even be able to say it twice. They're calling your God-given natural rights loopholes now. That's where we're at. They want to end the friend loophole, the neighbor loophole, the gun show loophole, the privately made firearm loophole. They're calling your natural rights loopholes. And they're getting by with it just fine, actually. It's actually working quite well for them, if you think about it. There's way more firearms that are banned than what we're allowed to have. You guys do know that, right? It's true. You take all the crap that they've already been busted doing, you combine the red flag laws, which means you could be flagged. We don't know exactly what it'll say yet, but it'll be somebody that you've ever co-inhabited with, that you currently co-inhabit with, that's any type of relative. And don't forget, it's always a police officer that can red flag you. It's always a police officer that can red flag you. I mean, we can trust the police. Just ask those parents that trusted the police to save their children, then physically prevented them from saving their own children. I'm sure other than that, they're very, 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 very brave and courageous. And I mean, other than that, right? Red flag laws and universal background checks, one or the other, is going to lead to confiscation. Both of them. Here's the thing. If it's just red flag laws or if it's just universal background checks, maybe another decade or so. If it's both, I don't know. I would have said not in my lifetime, but not in my lifetime would have I ever thought police would have followed an order to go arrest a barber trying to cut hair. Not ever in my lifetime would I see locals trying to protect people from pillaging and burning their city to the ground, and the cops arrested the protectors and let them burn and burn and burn and burn. Not ever in my life did I think I would see a surfer that was 2 miles away from anybody have a whole swarm of cops come and actually risk spreading the virus more to apprehend. Never thought I'd see any of that in my life. Never thought I'd see many, many things. It's called the New World Order. It's called the World Economic Forum. It's called the New Social Order. And no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm literally quoting things the former vice president's literally told you himself. I'm just reciting what he said. I mean, you would have to be a conspiracy theorist. No, I'm just quoting the former vice president. Think about it for a minute. Red flag laws and universal background checks. What do you guys think? A year or two, maybe? 5 years? I don't know. You guys want to know about gun confiscation in America? Here's the crazy part. I see so many people on YouTube all day long. From my cold, dead hands, ain't nobody ever, ever, ever gonna come for your guns. From my cold, dead hands, they ain't coming from. Dude, you just missed the boat. Like, they think they're looking at the headlights. They're looking at the last glimmer of the taillights. Heck, they're seeing the train's already done a full loop around the track, and it's getting ready to come up and hit them from behind. That's the only headlights they're seeing. Dude, they confiscated guns from Americans for a long, long time. Go look at Katrina, all the guns they confiscated. What do people even mean when they come in the comment sections on YouTube and say, I'll tell you what, these 24,000 gun control laws they're BS and all, but whatever, and stuff. But the line in the sand is when they come to pick up our guns. Oh, that's funny. That's cute. That's one of the cutest things I've ever heard when I hear that. Dude, they've already been confiscating Americans' guns. Like, for a long, long time, actually. As people who live in California, those Freedom Week magazines were ruled by a federal judge. They were allowed in California. I hear cops are confiscating those every second they get. Oh, geez. The line in the sand is when they come for people's guns. Oh, boy. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Linda, I saw some very generous super chats. Read those while maybe they're still here. Or pop them up here and I'll read them. I'm sorry. Curtis Reynolds, what's happening, man? Thanks for such a generous super chat yet again. And I did see that one out of the corner of my eye. And I saw the same thing reported that you did. Thanks so much, Curtis. He says, Uvalde police rescued their own kids, but stood by while 19 fourth graders were slaughtered, shot in the head. That's been what's reported. It's getting more and more widely reported right now. And supposedly, just think about this for a minute, guys. In the United States of America, it was between 12.5 to 2 dozen. Again, there's no timeline. Everything is very, very, very sketchy on the timelines. Many things are very questioning a lot. Right, Susan? Wiki? People are questioning a lot right now with this. Imagine living in a country that's still somehow called the United States of America, or is it called the Federal Reserve of America? Because that's what it says on our money, and that's a corporation. Look at your money. The Federal Reserve. Wherever we live in the Federal Reserve of America, the new social order, the new world order. I'm just literally repeating stuff. I mean, no big deal. Just stuff the former vice president says almost every day. That you would be in what you like to think is America. And there'd be somebody with a gun in the process of, already has, or about to kill your child or other loved ones of the community, because all little children's lives are precious. They're gifts from God. And it's our duty to protect them. Not just the cops' duty, every American's duty. It is your right. It is your duty to throw off a tyrannical government, institute a government that you would see most fit to protect your liberty. And that's like, I'm paraphrasing, of course. That's what the Declaration of Independence says. Not me, Susan. That's what it says. You go there with a gun. Because a good guy with a gun, and you're a good person. Just imagine you're one of these parents. You're going in there as a good person to try to stop evil. And you know evil is always going to prevail when good men do nothing. And then people with badges stop you. And don't let you have access to the crazed killer. Now, when you can't have access to a celebrity, they call them bodyguards. What do you call the police when they won't let you have access to the killer? You know, maybe it's just these police. I encourage a very lively debate and discussion about this topic, guys. Maybe it's just these police, and it was just the police where the barber was in Michigan. It was just the police when they were burning down the town and they all stood down. It was just those, and it was just the other police that were apprehending that surfer out in California. And I mean, Randy Weaver finally lost his battle with cancer. God bless his soul. Maybe it was just the sniper that shot his wife when she came out with a baby and said, look, if there's going to be a gunfight, here's a baby. She came out armed with a baby in her hand and they shot her dead. They killed her from a highly trained sniper with a high-powered scope. Randy Weaver was found innocent by a jury of his peers, and the government had to pay him millions of dollars. Nobody even really talked about. Nobody really talked about Randy Weaver dying. I don't think it's just my opinion, Susan. I mean, he was innocent by a jury of his peers. And the government paid him millions of dollars for the wrongful death and cold-blooded murder of his beautiful wife. Maybe it was just those police. Now, here's something else I thought about. Now, here's what's interesting. People have different morals, but you think about this other town in Texas called Waco, Texas. Now, David Koresh went jogging every day. They could have stopped him then, but oh no. They supposedly had him on some type of, we'll just say some type of weapons charges and whatever. Religious charges. Now, look, you guys can have all your own morals with this, but I'll tell you what, the age of consent was pretty young in Texas at that time. And they tried to claim he was this big crazed pedophile, and maybe he was, because I don't know his soul, but actually a lot of like his wives and stuff were actually of the age of consent in Texas. Go look it up, guys. These are facts. But they didn't get him when he was out jogging. No. Think about this. I'm sure these are all coincidences. And all of these cops are completely wonderful except for these, and these, and these, and these. And I truly do mean it. Okay, there's plenty really good stories out there. My friend Rick Nieper tells me a story how he helped deliver a baby when he was a police officer, but he hasn't been a police officer in a long time either. Just to set the record straight there. Now, the same police that couldn't get in there, now the parents could get in. The parents could have stopped this killer right away. I know they could have. But the police stopped the parents from getting the killer because they just couldn't get in. They couldn't do anything for an hour. Did you guys see how fast they breached Waco and stuff? Yeah. And burned all those women and children alive. I mean, they were like driving a tank through the side of like a building. Burned alive a lot of young people, a lot of women and children. Federal police did that, just so you guys know. They were able to kill all the Branch Davidians, even though David Koresh went out to check his mail and went jogging into town every week. They could have just grabbed him. They chose to only get him when they could kill all the women and children. But they couldn't get in the classrooms to stop this fella. I guess it's actually just another coincidence, isn't it? JDV3 with the super chat. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, dude. Revolution would be great, but we don't have the testicular fortitude to execute in this day and age. Yeah, I'm not calling for any kind of revolution. I've told you guys that a long time ago. I'm not George Washington. I don't have the means or the opportunity. Wouldn't even know how to go about it, to be honest with you. And I'm not calling for that. I'm just talking about how much trouble we're in right now. You're right. We don't have the, obviously not. You're right. Marco Polo, thanks for the super chat, man, and for being a channel member. He says, I'm angry, but we need to focus and stay positive for my daughter. We all do for our families. Hug your kids, protect your kids. I know, and we do need to. But sometimes it's good just to talk about things and think about things. I've just been asking for a lot of your opinions tonight, to be honest with you. Maybe some of you guys see it differently than me, and I'm sure you do. Maybe some of you guys can help me kind of wrap my mind around all this. It's all pretty confusing in a way. I mean, it is, but it isn't. You know what I'm saying? Just goes against a lot of things. Wow. A lot of things happen, and you never thought you'd see in your life in America, right? Lord Aragon with the super chat. Thank you. Thank you. He says, going to be a civil war, in my humble opinion. And you know what? It's not just you. I think they said like 60% of the American people think there's going to be a civil war soon. And then when they asked further and said, and how many of you, so like over half think there's going to be one. Then they asked them a second question and said, by the way, which of you want one? And that was still a surprising high number. I think almost a third of the American people said they actually want one. Yeah. Wow. I'm not saying you want one. I was just extrapolating on what you said. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. I don't know. That's up to you. Monkey47 with the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate it. It says, enjoy the holiday weekend. I want you guys to enjoy your holiday weekend. I ain't trying to rile anybody up tonight. I'm not trying to get you guys mad. I think sometimes it's good just to vent a little bit and have maybe some rational minds and some normal people, because that's all we are, is just regular normal people hanging out here. Maybe somebody will say, well, you know, we can think about it this way. Maybe we can improve it that way. I don't know. Maybe some people are going to have some ideas, some encouragement for each other, right? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there, guys. I'm not going to make any stark accusations, but there's a lot of weird coincidences going on. But yeah, enjoy your holiday weekend, man. Memorial Day, right? That's to honor all the people who lost their lives fighting in wars and conflicts otherwise so that we may be free. I know I brought this up before. And this isn't like gotcha stuff either. When I ask you guys these questions, I actually mean it. How is it that we've been able to go throughout the whole world and all these brave souls fought like hell to save the United States and to save the world from communism, the Third Reich, socialism? We've been over to Cambodia. We've been everywhere in the world. We got bombed in Pearl Harbor. We've been able to help set the rest of the world free from all this, but we've never, ever been able to save ourselves from it. And I wonder why. I do wonder why. I'm actually not even being sarcastic at all. I mean, I have some ideas about the topic, but it's kind of perplexing if you really think about it, isn't it? Oh, it's kind of crazy. What do you think, Lori Dickin, about what I'm talking about here? Sorry to bore all you guys, but I want this particular person's opinion. What do you think about the thin blue line nowadays? I don't know, man. Don't even know. And look, I don't hate all cops. Nothing's this simple, guys. But man, there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last couple of years, though. See, here's the thing. All political power comes from the barrel of a gun. If the people just sit there and yell on the internet, and that's all they do. Now, discourse is very, very important. But if all they do is just yell on the internet, they just sit and laugh. And if Gretchen Whitmer sat there and made some order, an edict about you can't cut hair or like you'll get arrested and stuff, and nobody came there with badges and guns to enforce it, everyone would have just laughed at that too. But here's the difference, though. They follow orders. Orders first, always. Follow the order first, then after you follow it, come back and question the constitutionality of it. I'm certainly not speaking for any of you, but a lot of you guys here served in the armed services. Is that what they told you? Follow the order first. We don't have time to discuss it. Then afterwards, you can come back if you feel it was unconstitutional. Is that true? I'm literally asking you. I didn't serve in the United States Armed Services. Any of you guys that are police or former police, what do they tell you? Follow the orders first, then you come back afterwards and question it? Are you like not even allowed to question it at all? Like, how come in the end? I'm literally wanting to know this. Why does it always come in the end where it's like, look, we had to go arrest the guy cutting hair in Michigan because we're just following orders? Okay. But it was weird because when we had those trials in Nuremberg, that was their defense. They said, you don't understand. We're in the military. It's a structured organization, and we were just following orders. That's what like so many of the soldiers of the Third Reich said on their defense, and they said, no, that's not a defense. It's not a defense. You killed people. It was not a defense. So when the police stopped parents from saving their own kids while they were unwilling to go in themselves, as reported, as widely reported, did someone give them orders to stand down? I don't know. They're not really giving us much info on this. And if they did give them the orders to stand down, is that just their valid defense in America? Because it wasn't the valid defense for the Third Reich when they caught up to all of them decades later. Many of them were hiding throughout the world, and they finally got them. Most of them caught up. They never caught them all, but they got a lot of them, brought them into this big, huge military court. It's called the Nuremberg trials. And they said, just following orders? And they said, I don't think so. No. I don't know. I don't know how far just following orders counts. Does it count all the way to the end? Police officers are not obligated to enforce unlawful orders. I agree. Why do so many of them do it? Look, they're not angels, and men are not angels. None of us are angels, clearly, obviously. Like, literally, none of us are. All have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, period. End of story. I'll tell you what, a lot of us have so many different things in our lives, different religions, different many things. We all have one thing in common. None of us are perfect, not even close. I get that. But where do people draw their lines in the sand? Is it screaming children that are bleeding to death? Is that the line in the sand for someone that protects and serves? I don't know. Is it 24,000 gun control laws that are the American gun owners' line in the sand? I don't know. Is it 24,003, 24,036, 124,000? I don't know. I don't know where it's at because it just keeps getting more and more and more and more, and they just keep going after more and more. I don't know when it stops, actually. It's kind of weird. And that old saying's true. When people say hindsight's 2020, truer words have never been spoken. I mean, how could we know? I'm being serious. That's not me being sarcastic at all. I don't know. I think we're going to see some gun control out of this. You know what's funny? A few of us have been talking online, even in these chats. I've seen it. I read the chats, guys. I read the chats. There's been people randomly saying things like, guess what? I think there's going to be a school shooting in the next couple weeks. I'm not even joking. I've been talking to different people around town, people that get it, that are like, wow, yeah, this is messed up. People are like, you know what? We've got this SCOTUS case coming soon, right? The brewing case. And then we've got midterms coming. I bet you there's going to be a school shooting. And of course there was. I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. Go back and read my chats. Literally, people are like, stuff is crazy right now. I bet you there's going to be something crazy go down right just before the Supreme Court case, people have said. And I said, well, I do remember when the Hearing Protection Act was one day away from getting passed. I do remember that, actually. Well, that's a coincidence. I don't know. I doubt it. Let's hope not. Now look. Now I'm sure a lot of this stuff just gets written off as coincidence, obviously. They're penning us against each other. Of course they are. That's what they do best. Yes. They are penning. Yeah. Penning each other on us. I don't know what else to say other than yes. Taking a quick look at the chat here. You know what, guys? You look at the amount of money they spend in Ukraine. The Ukraine. In the Ukraine, they're saying, well, now it's going to be, maybe just a couple $1 trillion. I don't know what to even think anymore. Armed guards at every school. Okay. I don't know, though. Not at that school, that didn't work because all kinds of people showed up with guns, milling around, whatever. I don't know if that's the answer. I do call for an abolishment of the Department of Education, though, by the way. No, that's not necessarily gun and Second Amendment related, but it actually is. It actually is. Because you can vote your way into communism, but anytime it's ever been toppled, people had to shoot their way out of it. Oh, seriously. If no one's willing to protect and defend that piece of parchment paper, it's just a piece of parchment paper. And actually, you wouldn't even have to light the Constitution on fire. You could just take that big, like 3-foot piece of UV treated glass off of it. And it's so old, just let it be exposed to normal oxygen daylight, and the whole thing would be illegible in a very, very short amount of time, actually. I'm being serious. You don't even need to like do anything to it. Just take that piece of glass off of it and poof, it's gone. That's all it is. It's a piece of paper. Department of this, department of that. There's literally probably more federal agencies in this country than you even know of. I mean, we literally have a Department of Misinformation, Ministry of Truth in this country. We do. It didn't completely end. I thought it did. I kind of jumped the gun and tried to get in a good mood last week. I'm like, guys, we're winning to a point. We ended it. We got rid of the Ministry of Truth. And then I found out later, no, we actually didn't get rid of it at all. Just the, what do they call her? Mary Poppins now. She resigned, right? And they're seeking someone else new to run it. So, I actually think, I don't know. I don't know what's worse right now, our version of 1984 or actual 1984. So you know what? People are talking about we're over there protecting Ukraine's border, but can't protect our own. Like there's an invasion on the United States soil, right? I don't think we're going to have to worry about that too much longer. What do you guys think about that? I don't actually think we're going to have to worry about the invasion from the Mexican border in the United States too much longer, because I'm looking at fuel prices in this country. I'm looking at potential food shortages, just prices of food. See, people get the term shortage mixed up a lot, I think, unless I'm just mixed up on this topic. I remember back a couple of years ago, last year, the year before, I'd say ammo shortage 2020. People say there's no shortage. You can buy as much as you want. If you're willing to go on Gunbroker and spend $100 a box for 9mm, you can buy as much as you want. There's no shortage. I would do a video literally called Ammo Shortage 2020. And someone will go, you're full of crap. There is no shortage. I could buy 10,000 rounds right now on Gunbroker for 100. I'm like, no, that is the definition of a shortage. Like, of course, if you have enough money, you can get anything you want. Duh. I mean, even in like third world countries, if you have enough money, you can get anything you want. You'll have palaces that are paved in gold, or they literally walk on gold bullion for their floor tiles, while 90% of their people are starving. So if you have enough money in any country in the world, you can get whatever you want. So no, that's a shortage. When something that was $8, $9 a box is now 100, that's a shortage. With that said, we're in a food shortage right now. Your groceries are double, triple, in some cases quadruple, and many times large sections of the grocery store aisles are empty. There's so much darn political strife. Everybody hates the government, and everybody hates each other. I'm serious. Half of you guys are like, what the heck are we going to do about this government? The other half of you right now are be like, what are we going to do to 2A EDU? And you were just my friend yesterday, and now you hate me, maybe. Maybe some of you don't. Maybe some of you do. I know all of you don't. I'm just saying, I know how the internet works. I know how people work. I don't think we're going to have to worry about the border crisis too much longer, because I don't really see, if things keep going downhill the way they have been in this country, with how fast. I mean, this former vice president's only been in for what, like a year and a half? A year and a half? Do you guys remember this? I just want to put this in perspective so you guys know where I'm heading with this. It was only like 2 months ago where they said, if things get much worse, we're going to be as bad as when Jimmy Carter was president. No one even mentions Jimmy Carter anymore. Now, if you're involved in the political arena at all, or you're old enough to remember the gas shortages and cost of gas and just how much despair the country was in under Carter, that's a pretty big benchmark. When you say, like, it always used to be things have reached a decade low for the economy, asterisk besides the Carter administration. Dude, that's 2 months in our rear view. We've so far surpassed every failure of economics that the Carter administration had. It's not even funny. Jimmy Carter's actually starting to look like Ronald Reagan right now. Look, Ronald Reagan was the person that came in with the Reagan economics. He also banned machine guns in 1986, which means nobody from the government has ever had the Second Amendment truly in mind, protecting our natural right to keep and bear arms. There's as big of a difference between Jimmy Carter and the former vice president's administration, almost, okay, as there was between the Carter and Reagan administration. And that's a big deal. I don't know how much worse this country has to get before we ain't going to have no border crisis problem. Why would they want to come here if it gets to be worse than there? And you guys might think I'm being hyperbolic, but I've been noticing a growing trend lately. There's actually a lot of people that are leaving the United States now to move to Mexico. Have you guys heard about this? It's actually a thing. I'm not saying everybody is. I'm not trying to over exaggerate it, but it's a growing trend in this country. A lot of Americans are trying to move with Mexico, but here's the thing. They have like a strict 10-year rules, and you have to actually apply to be a citizen there. Now, they'll let anyone in the world pass through Mexico and into the U.S. They're totally fine with that. But if you actually want to become a legit Mexican citizen and immigrate as an American to Mexico, look it up if you guys don't believe me. It's a growing trend. Yeah, you have to prove that you're going to be an asset to their country. You have to prove that you're going to have a job. If you get arrested there for committing a crime, you get locked up in a nasty Mexican prison. You don't get sent back home scot-free to come back across the border again a month later. You remember Kate's Law, when that young lady named Kate? He killed 3 or 4 people, got sent back to Mexico 3 or 4 times, and then he finally came and killed that beautiful young lady that was walking the pier with her father. You guys remember that? Ted Cruz introduced it. It was called Kate's Law. Mexico doesn't do that. If you're an American citizen living in Mexico trying to get your citizenship, you better walk the line. You better pledge your allegiance to Mexico. You better live by their laws, or else you're in big trouble, buddy. I'm just saying. But there's still people that want to move from here to there. See, here's the thing. We have somebody in here. I don't know who they are. Do you guys know Jay Luther? Hi, Jay Luther. Welcome to the channel. Calling people idiots. People are mean-spirited right now. There you go, Jay Luther. I think teachers that have CPLs, I can see a little bit level of training. I don't mean for them to exercise their natural God-given right. You should need no CPL at all. But within the proximity of children, within the school, how things can get complicated, I could see some extra training for them to carry just within the school. I do actually understand that. Because there's logistical reasons why. Kind of like why our troops train and things like that. So, yes, I think that having armed teachers in schools is an excellent idea. And I actually think it's the best idea. So, there you go. And I don't know if you were calling some of my friends in this chat idiots. But if you're feeling froggy, buddy, you can leave. I dare you to call me an idiot on my own channel. Bye-bye. And bye, Felicia. Just wait for him to call me an idiot, then get him out. He doesn't have a solution. When someone comes in saying idiot, they're just mean-spirited, really. Carbon Spider, what do you suggest? Look, I called Reagan out. Reagan signed the Firearms Owners Protection Act with the Hughes Amendment. I called him out. I assume, I don't want to speak for you, bud, but since you think Reagan killed the North, I assume you liked the Jimmy Carter $5 a gallon in 1980 with long lines policy. I don't know. Is that what your preference was? I don't know. What's happening, Randy Smith? How you doing, man? Now, there's lots of good people in here every week for sure. Speaking of which, Jane Locke, what's happening, Jane? How you doing? There you go. A good friend of mine is moving to Ecuador. She went there to find an apartment and came back to pack her stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if my brother doesn't go there. That's where my sister-in-law is from. What's happening, Shanzi? How's it going, man? Band talk. What's happening, dude? Sorry, guys. I'm just thinking about those children. I just read what Band Talk said. I'm just reading the end of it. Then those officers who abandoned them for an hour. That's what's being reported. Widely reported. What's happening, Mr. H0661? Look, guys, I'm just talking about real life stuff. It's not really a fun conversation, but geez, oh, Pete. Would you guys have more respect for me if I just lied to you and said life is good? I'm always shooting out in the woods. Positive gun reviews without the politics. I mean, some of you would rather that, but I have too much respect for you guys than just to lie to you and tell you everything's perfect right now. That'd be a pretty big lie, wouldn't it? Yeah, you know, I was talking to a friend about this. Chanzig. I was talking to a couple people about it. My best friend, I was talking to my wife about it too. My wife's so smart. I love you, honey, so much. I was talking about, yeah, they'll protect money, won't they? They'll protect money. With guns. But not children with guns. Wow. Just think about that for a minute. They'll protect money with guns like it's nothing. You're a real beauty in a different kind of way. What about all the people that are retired in America? Wow. My friend Bantalk knows about these. He has a lot nicer collection than I do. I spend too much on guns to be able to afford too much in the way of currency or bullion, but Federal Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe, $10 billion. I promise to pay the bearer on demand for the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Now, if this was worth $10 billion, I wouldn't have had to fix my truck 3 times in the last week, completely unrelated things. Just struggling to try to keep my business afloat. I bought this for about $5 on eBay, just literally for this stream as a conversation piece to remind people what can happen in third world countries like Zimbabwe. Hopefully not, but possibly in third world countries like America if we keep going down the road we are. I mean, the former vice president's only been in the White House for a year and a half. I mean, this is kind of like, you know, the whole you ain't seen nothing yet thing. I don't want it to be true, but wow. Wow. A year and a half. $10 billion. This got to the point where it couldn't even buy a loaf of bread, and then they made $100 billion, and I think they even made $1 trillion. No. Venezuela. Nutty 357, right within our times. You know what's funny about Venezuela? They came through and picked up the guns in the late 70s. I've told this story, but it's been a while. Maybe there's some new people watching since then. By the way, this wasn't even enough at a certain point to even buy a loaf of bread, and literally all this currency is null and void. Now it completely collapsed. That's the moral of the Zimbabwe story. You can look at some of the Hugo notes. You can look at the Weimar Republic, Germany, about 100 years ago. Same thing. Wheelbarrows full of money. They were burning it just because it was better to watch it burn because it was worth nothing. Venezuela at one time had the highest per capita riches of like any country in the world, actually far exceeding America. They came for their guns in the late 70s. The people feared the government more and more, so they handed them in. And then since the people feared the government, there was tyranny, and the government got more and more tyrannical to the point where they had a very dictatorial, oppressive regime take place. And they've long since eaten almost all their pets because they couldn't afford to feed their pet, is how it started, but then they couldn't afford to feed themselves. And then they had to eat their pets and eat out of garbage trucks. They had guns. They gave up their guns. The regime kept getting more and more dictatorial and tyrannical. From the richest per capita on earth to eating out of garbage trucks and eating your dog because you actually can't afford to feed it. Think about that. Wow. I literally have people arguing with me about the Taurus G3 Tactical in my comments last night. Now, they're not really arguing with me. I'm not engaging back per se. I try to read as many comments as I can and answer people, but I mean like arguing with my video. "19 children died." Just think about this for a second. 19 children died. We have 24,000 gun control laws. Parents were prevented from protecting their own kids. Soon there's going to be bread lines and food lines. Soon there's going to be another plague, right? There's another plague they're saying coming. That's already been announced. And you know what a lot of gun owners care about? They care about taking up with the particulars of my review on the G3 Tactical. I mean, of course, clearly, guys, it's not a co-witness red dot site. The sites aren't tall. They're not co-witness red dot sites. They're suppressor sites. That is what we need to focus on arguing about. Trust me. I posted on Locals, by the way, guys. I posted the official data sheet that I got straight from Taurus, like literally from the manufacturer. I posted on Locals. It says, key features, co-witness hype sites. Now, it doesn't really matter that I know more about guns than most people I've ever met. I'm just going to stand up for myself. And that all sites that are tall aren't created equally tall. And actually, what's classically a suppressor height site is in many cases a different height than a co-witness site. And when I literally quoted the manufacturer's exact spec sheet, because I had access to that, and called it a co-witness site, people thought the number one issue in America was to correct me on the verbiage of what site, the name of the height of the site. I mean, I'm sure the gun community's going to come together this time, though, guys. If they pass red flag laws, the gun community is definitely going to come together on this one. Only after they come into my one video and remind me that my verbiage of the sites isn't exactly what they're misinformed to believe it is. But then hold on, before they can come together on this, then they'll have to come and tell me that I'll destroy my striker fire G3 by dry firing it. After they clock that out, then they're going to be right on it, though. They're going to be right out there in the sand, digging their heels in, putting their sandbags up around their foxhole. No, actually, they have to do one more thing. Then they have to come back and say, dude, I was with you. I loved the Taurus videos. And I even liked your politics. But they'll have to come back and berate me because I'm more of an AK guy than an AR guy. But then they're going to be right there, right on the front lines, ready to, nope, stop. Then they have to go over to the Taurus and berate them because they didn't want another 9mm. They wanted a 10mm. And 10mm ammo was the only ammo people shoot in comment sections But what's interesting is I have access to data that literally proves that there's like 1,000 boxes of 9mm sold in this country for every one box of 40 and 10 combined. People only want 10mm guns and they only shoot 10mm, but they never buy the ammo statistically, like at all. Like it's like less than 1/1000th of 1%. But before they can dig their heels in the sand and buck up and take the country back, they're going to have to come and hammer Taurus because they didn't put out a 10mm that they theoretically would shoot if they shot, but they don't shoot their guns because I get people saying, what do you mean you had a gun break down? I'm like, yeah, because I shot my gun and it had an issue. I've never had a gun break. I'm like, well, you haven't shot very much. So we'll have to hash that out first, right? Just think about it for a minute. we can't put our heels in and dig in and put a line in the sand to stop McConnell and Schumer and all these from passing red flag. We need to argue about why such and such didn't put out a 10mm that, like, look, it's an awesome cartridge, and if it's your favorite cartridge, it's awesome, but yeah, and stuff. Like, that's what's hot on most people's minds. I'm like, dude, don't lecture me about what the proper nomenclature is for these sites. Call your congressman. We're getting ready to get red flag laws here, like possibly any day and stuff, and universal background checks and stuff. Oh, now you want to hash out whether you like the color FDE or foliage better? Like, we can do it, but we really need to argue about that? I don't know. What do you guys think? And look, guys, I don't want everybody to think like me. And I'm pretty eclectic in my gun taste. I truly am. What's interesting is I like the AK more than the AR, but probably own more ARs than 99% of the people that inflicted hate and unsub from my channel because I like, let's listen to this, because I like the AK more than the AR. They unsubbed because I'm not AR enough for them, but I own more ARs than they do. That's the stuff that really matters in the gun community, on YouTube anyways. Just taking a peek at the chat here. Saint Vicari, what's happening? Says, I have my favorites for sure, but I'm a fan of all guns. Yeah, that's what I meant. It was funny because I said that before I even read your comment. We're definitely on the same page. Mike McClune with the super sticker. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it, dude. Thank you so much. I haven't been able to work in like 3 days. Well, let me backtrack. I've been working my butt off, like to the bone, okay? Haven't been able to do a job that actually paid any money in 3 days. So thanks, man. All of the ways you guys support the channel helps keep it going. Because trust me, I ain't got enough to do it on my own, and I do not have people pay me for positive reviews. So thanks, man. Epic fail, the hippo said. Now I'll give you guys a little peek behind the scenes since it's so late in the stream. This was one of my cleaner blue shirts. I own quite a few, and these pants were brand new. This is how much I've been wrenching on vehicles, guys. Like, literally. You guys see my... These were not brown or dark gray pants. They were like light white. You can barely see on the back, but even most of that's... That's the kind of week it's been for me. Should get in the auto repair business. Yeah, dude, I like to talk about all kinds of stuff. I just like to hang out with you guys. No, here's what I'm getting at. I'm not mad at anybody. I'm really not. I'm seriously not. I'm only giving you guys some of these stories of stuff people like to argue about because people are just very, very ticked off right now. People are literally just like, very, very combative. And somebody said it earlier, and they said it best. They said they're trying to turn us against each other. And I truly believe that. I understand why everybody's so mad right now. I'm mad about it too. But people kind of, it's just the way people say things. Like, we can disagree. And I could be like, oh, dude, you're a 10 mil guy? Cool. I'm a 9 mil guy. Let's just say we said that, right? For me, it's never that simple. I'm not just a one thing. I love all this stuff. That's why I have such a wide variety of reviews, and I talk about so many things on here. I don't just pretend to. Like, I literally am interested in a lot of this stuff, right? But when people say stuff like Taurus sucks and it's terrible and I can't believe you hyped this gun up because it's the wrong caliber and stuff, it's like, man, you can just sense it, is all I'm saying. You can just sense the anger and frustration, and people are just like, ugh. I get it. I mean, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot. And I'm sure it's something we were all subliminally programmed into. Is humans have some kind of propensity to where people like to just instantly turn on each other. It's kind of like this. If you look at ants, you can have all these ants in a jar. And they'll be diddy bopping around doing their little worker ant thing and queen ant thing. And they'll do their thing, right? They have their roles and they're, I don't know, seemingly very happy. They appear to be, right? I know they'll kill something if it comes and tries to invade. So clearly, they believe in their security and liberty more than many Americans do. They haven't purchased any security. No, they'll come and kill something that comes into their hive, their nest. But they'll be in there diddy bopping around, acting all cool until someone grabs that jar and just starts shaking it up. And then you'll actually watch them. They're so confused. They don't realize that their best friend 5 minutes ago slammed into them because of the person shaking the jar. But they go back after them because that's what's happening right now. Think about it. Two best friends will be sitting next to each other. You're just typing away. And bam, the government will come in and just sucker punch you right in the jaw. You look over and your friend's the only one that's there. He didn't do anything. He was playing on his phone. Clearly the number one priority in America, playing on your phone, obviously. I mean, if they took away cell phones, we'd have a revolution in 5 minutes. The number one most important thing, he's on his phone. You'd walk around and you'd punch your own best friend in the face if you were convinced that he was the only person sitting next to you. It had to be him, right? Get it, but it wasn't him because the government had some super top secret gadget you weren't familiar with that came down from the ceiling, hit you in the face, retracted itself, and disappeared without a sign before you could even see it. But since your friend was standing there, you walloped him one, and then you guys fought like hell, and both of you were so busted up you had to be in walkers for the next 6 weeks. Then the government goes, now I'll come in and demolish the rest of the town while you guys are all in the walkers and can't defend yourselves. Clearly, that's what's going on. Obviously, on a very, very large scale, too. Just taking a peek here. No, there ain't safe in these pants, man. Ban talk with a super chat. Thanks, man. I was not hinting around for you guys to... Look, I got the truck fixed pretty much. I'll tell you guys a story if you want to know. This is just the worst luck ever. Like, I believe in taking responsibility of your own actions. And some of it is ultimately my fault, I guess, right? Like maybe if I'd made better life choices or was a lot better or whatever, I drive all brand new trucks and I would never have to worry about it. Maybe that's the real answer. But besides that, man, I've had crazy stuff happen to this last week that literally was not my fault. But thanks for the generous tip, Ban Talk. And I'll put it back into the channel, man. I always want to give back to you guys. I'm not trying to get rich on here. I'm not trying to get rich, period. Trust me. I've had some crazy vehicle repairs that are completely, like all three are completely unrelated to each other. The problem is it rained 4 times this week in southeastern Michigan. And grass has grown like 12 inches in the last 6 days and stuff. Yeah. It's literally crazy. I'll tell you guys one of the 3 stories. So check this out. It's a 2000 F350 dually, 2-wheel drive, 7.3 power stroke. And it's not a brand new truck, but pretty decent shape, good runner. That's a legendary engine, as some of you guys might know. Tires were bald. I mean, like so bald, there was steel belts showing through. Took me twice as long to save up for tires because tires are twice as much as they used to be. 2020 started off with it being illegal to cut grass. Things haven't quite been the same since. Finally saved up and bought 4 tires for the rear. The front are far from good, but they're acceptable. They're like 30% tread. Enough to where I couldn't get a ticket for them, right? So I go to Discount Tire. I don't know if it's a national chain or what. I get them put on by the professionals. I do all my own wrenching. Why? Because I'm poor, but not just because of that. I need to visually confirm it with my own eyes. I don't really trust any shop's work because I've had like disasters and debacles 90% of the time I've ever taken anything into the shop. It's weird, but like the trained ASE certified professionals always screw it up. But like me that didn't even take auto shop in high school, and my dad wasn't even like a motorhead, I figured out how we're literally, besides going inside of like a transmission or inside of a differential, swapping a whole axle with the diff's one thing, but going inside of it, no. Differentials are a nightmare. And if it's a real complex modern engine, I'll stop there. But literally, I've repaired everything else on a whole vehicle, including engines, just nothing real modern, right? I always get them fixed every time. It might take me longer. I might not have the right tool. I might have to buy a $200 tool to do the job sometimes. But nope, but I don't have a tire changing machine. Took it into the professionals. When you have aluminum rims, you have to retorque the lug nuts after so many miles. I've always been told, and under the impression you don't have to retorque steel rims. I've never been told to. It wasn't on the slip. So I get the new tires put on. I've literally had the tires put on. This is like, we're going back over a week ago now. And I have a caliper hang up on the left rear. Caliper's not in stock. It's a 2000 and it's a dually and there's whatever. So I get that, finally get that. I ordered 2 calipers, next day shipping. One of them arrives the next day. One arrives a few days after that. Ugh. I'm like paying the extra money for next day. The other one arrives a few days after that. This is how my luck's been. So I take off the left 2 wheels to do the brake caliper. I snug them up just snug enough to see the rim with an impact. Take it right off of there. Torque wrench. The torque is 150 to 165 foot-pounds. I torque them at 165 because I'm frequently going to have a load. Clicker torque wrench, torque them all to spec. Okay. Another catastrophe happened in the meantime with the trailer. I'm not going to get into that, but that was a complete freak, weirdest thing you've ever heard of. I don't want to get into another long story that's not Gun or Second Amendment related. So that happens. Takes me out for a couple days. Then I'm driving down the road, wobble, 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 wobble. 4 of the studs had sheared. One of the lugs that was still there, the lug nut had come off. All my lug nuts came off on the side that I didn't touch. The side I had touched that I had taken off right after getting the new tires and torqued it down with a torque wrench to 165 foot-pounds. I never retorqued those, by the way. The ones that I did with the torque wrench, I checked them all with the torque wrench. My rims only had 3 lug nuts holding them out of 8, and they were clump, 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 going down the road. I didn't notice it at first because the road's in such despair in Michigan. Whitmer just fixed the roads was what she ran on. Roads are so bad, this main road I drive on, I couldn't even tell my rims were hitting each other. Except for I had somebody following me and said, yeah, you should see your rims. They're ready to fall off. That's how bad the road was. I couldn't even tell that my dually tires were hitting each other. So last night in a customer's driveway, I went and got 1 lug nut, made it back on 4 lugs. And then I spent all day today pressing out the old studs, pressing them in. But it gets worse than that. They only had 4 studs in stock. So I only replaced the 4 broken ones and had 4 that were pretty stressed and chattered up. I'm waiting for those to come back in stock. It's the holiday weekend. We might have them this week. Yeah, it's just been one of those weeks. But sorry to bore all you guys with that. And I actually left like half the story out because I realized I had been ranting about it for a while. Thanks for the super chat, Man Talk. Scott Plagueman with the super chat and a channel member. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate you, dude. He says, your choice, 2 gallons or 2 freedom seeds. Oh, man. Oh, that's funny. Right now, it's about 3.5 gallons, dude. Do you guys remember? Thanks so much for being generous, man. I appreciate you. I hope you and your beautiful wife, Christy, are doing good, man. What good people you guys are. I'm not saying that because he paid me the $20, man. So many of us were praying for his wife, and she's doing good still, right? Let everyone in the chat know. I don't like to take stuff for granted, but I'm pretty sure she's doing good. Do you guys remember when these 7.62 by 54R were 17 cents a round? No, dude, I'll put it back into the channel, man. I'll get that grass cut this weekend, one way or another, to get some gas in the tank. Saint Vicari with a super chat and a channel member. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. He says, thanks for always being here. Thanks for being always here. 2A Edu, even though it's hard. I'm not trying to be like super black-pilled tonight, guys. I just wanted to talk about some cold hard realities, you know? I'm going to talk about guns tomorrow night in my local stream. I like to talk about guns a lot. I had a blast. I did that as a premiere. Okay, even though videos get less views when you do them as a premiere, I just wanted to hang out with you guys in the chat for the Taurus G3 Tactical video last night. I want to talk about guns, guys. I'm not like getting out of guns or anything, but man, there's a lot to think about. And no, I don't hate every last police officer, okay? I just pose some tough questions for people. I want you guys' advice. I think this is stuff we need to think about and talk about. And no, guys, I'm not calling for anything crazy. Not because I don't think it's not in order. I don't know how to do it. I don't know what to do. I mean, the founding fathers like laid it out. I have a lot of good ideas. I try to share them with you guys every week. I believe in my ideas and convictions, but I'm like not George Washington. I don't know how to literally like cross the Delaware and stuff, like physically. Hopefully there's somebody that's a lot more gifted than me that can figure it out. But I do think about this stuff a lot. I think it's important to talk about. And I do believe things like, and no, it's not my quote. And I already know it's not my quote. Andrew Breitbart said it, but he's not even alive anymore. Politics is downstream from culture. We have to build a culture. We have to normalize being normal. Just think about that right now. Everything that we want to do that's just normal. It's normal to want to protect your children. It's normal to keep and bear arms. It's normal to be a boy or a girl, and animals are animals, and your kid isn't a cat or a dog. Like, you're normal. Just think about that. It's normal in a first world country to work your butt off and expect there to be like food at a reasonable price at the grocery store. That's actually normal. None of this stuff's normal. And once in a while, we need to encourage each other. And I want to encourage you guys a lot. And I've actually been trying to encourage you tonight, if nothing other than just to think. Just to think about things. You have to first acknowledge what the problem is before you can even attempt to solve it. Now, I'm not trying to say I've just given up, guys, and I'm not going to try to come up with solutions. Don't mistake what I said. But I'm not like the guy that's just right now going to come in on a white horse and say 1 if by land, 2 if by sea. That was Paul Revere, allegedly. Someone else said it was actually somebody else, but you know what I mean. I'm not going to be able to save you, and I don't expect you to save me, but together we have to figure out a way to save this country. You know what I'm saying? And look, if we had the physical chance, I know any of you guys would save me, and I'd save any of you. But literally, we're all responsible for our own safety and security. And we're responsible for a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And it's our consent whether it's allowed to exist or not, right? I just wanted to bring up some of these topics because I just don't know what's going on right now, where there's just crazy stuff going on every single day, and I don't want it to become normal, guys. That's all. DLD After Dark with the super chat. Thank you, Linda, for hanging in there. I'm going to get off here in just 1 second. I've got Linda helping me, Mateo helping me. I'm sure both of you guys are getting really tired. Thanks for the super chat, man. And that was not necessary at all. And I was gonna actually just keep that between me and you, but yeah, they screwed both of us over the shipping thing. But you didn't need to reimburse it, and I thank you, man. I'm gonna show you guys a couple things that I got in the mail before I get off here. DLD After Dark says sorry about the UPS screwing us over. They did too, dude, like big time. You put like 2 stamps on there, and they charged me an extra $3.40. They hit you like $5 for sending 2 patches. I'm not going to hold it up on camera because it would do a little bit of doxing of both of us. But yeah, like literally it's on they got us good. What's the United States Post Office? Are we surprised that the government would try to get somebody however they could, even on postage? He says, you're doing great and you're waking up a lot of folks with these conversations. This is just a conversation, guys. I'm going to read it for some wisdom and advice from you guys too. I really am. All right, do I have any more chats I need to get to, Linda? Jeff Cron, I agree. If we believe firearms are a God-given right, and I do, why is driving not also one? There's licenses for guns. Freedom of movement, right? Why do we pay money just to move? I don't know. You're going to be paying money to breathe soon with your social credit score and carbon taxes. Dude, this road is so bad. It's so bad. It's called Grand River, and that's going to narrow it down much. Grand River goes like hundreds of miles through across Michigan. It's so bad on this section of Grand River Avenue. Literally, when your dually wheels aren't clamoring against each other and ready to fall off, it's just as bumpy. I was talking to a friend. He's like, dude, you couldn't tell when you were driving that truck that the real wheels were going bump, 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 bump. I'm like, no, dude, I was on that section of Grand River. He's like, oh, okay. It literally feels like bombs and like IEDs, improvised explosive devices are going off under you. Yeah. And taxes are not cheap in the area. Let's just say this. Right, Jane Locke? What's happening, Jane Locke? There you are. I think I saw your comment quite a bit ago. You're going to try to still support some of the good oath-keeping police, but all the other ones, screw them. I don't want to misquote you, darling, but I think that's what you said. I think that's probably where a lot of people are. And when I question things like the thin blue line, look, I get it. All gun owners aren't one thing. All police aren't one thing. There could be a department here, a department there that's doing phenomenal things. And I know there are some people that are. And there are people that when they were given tyrannical orders that put down their badge and just stopped. I know there's people that have done that. There's probably someone with a badge right now watching this that is like, no, I will put down my badge. And you really will if they give you that order. I get it. But there's lots of patterns of this that's been going on throughout this whole country. And it seems like it's getting worse and worse, doesn't it? Yeah, Jane said, I went to Aldi, got a great deal, $80 worth of groceries for only $144. That is actually a good deal. Going rate would have been $200. So Jane Locke, she's a pretty savvy lady. I know her personally. And I hope your health's in good shape, by the way. Jane, I hope you're doing good. But yeah, Jane's savvier than most. I'm not going to lie, guys. She might be one of the smartest people in here. I mean, look, I'm not going to say the smartest because I'm going to get everybody mad. She's in the top 1 percentile. You know what I mean? So the groceries would have been $200 if most people would have bought them. Trust me on that. I thought Whitmer fixed the roads. He jobs for you, not me. I needed that laugh. I was getting all ticked off tonight, and I've literally, dude, that's the funniest thing I've heard. Whitmer fixed the roads? Ron Wayne, what's happening, man? How you doing? Speaking of smart people, all the smart people are coming out. Jeremy Wilson, I was talking about your better half, right? Amanda says, hey, at 2AEDU, how's it going, Amanda? How's it going? I'm not saying you're not smart, Jeremy. I'm just saying she's smarter. You know what I mean? A little bit, maybe. What's happening, Misty Wayne? How you doing? Only got a food city to shop at where we are. I'm not familiar, but it sounds like you live in a little podunk town with a small little store that's probably very, very expensive. Shout out to living in a podunk town. That's a compliment coming from me. So only take that as a compliment, but there's downsides. I live in a very, very small town myself, actually. Check this out. This is pretty cool. I'm going to show you guys a couple real quick things. I think I saw him say goodnight a couple hours ago, but some viewers sent me stuff to give away. So I'm going to be doing a couple different small little giveaways soon. Some I'll be able to do here. Some I have to do on locals. So look forward to that. I'm going to figure out how to do it. But literally viewers, like sending me stuff and saying send it to the people, right? And I got a couple little Christmas presents and birthday presents and stuff. Now, I know why. And DLD, if you're still in here, you can tell him I said this, okay? No problem, Jane. Love you, Jane. I hope you're doing all right. Man, Jane's a good one, guys. She's had some health problems in the last year, but I hope you're all right. It's because he's cheap. Flying Rich sent me a Christmas card, right? Telling me he's cheap, DLD. I don't think he's in here right now with the Christmas card, but he did send me one of his squadron patches. So that was a gift for me. So thank you, Rich. He sent me a Christmas card, literally. To AEDU from Flying Rich. Bah humbug. I meant to say happy holidays. So I guess the card will become germane in about 6 more months or so. So I got a squadron patch, which was cool. This is where they got him, guys. This is no joke. Like, check this out. This is 2 patches. Here, I'm going to fold this over just right. Look at this. 2 PVC patches. Okay? This is from Dark. And they literally... Dude, this thing weighs like less than 2 ounces. I'm only folding it over not to dox both of us, okay? But 2 PVC patches. So he wasn't joking when he said they got him. And I got a birthday present from DLD After Dark. And he gave me the DLD Glowies patch, which from what I understand is really limited edition and hard to get. So that's cool. And then the PWEDC. Maybe you guys can look at this just a little bit and get what that means. PW stands for prison wallet. So from what I understand, these patches are pretty hard to get. And I will tell you guys this. I put all the money back into the channel, and I really do. But I get a little fringe benefits for spending so much time here. I do get some pretty cool limited edition gifts, handwritten cards and notes from YouTube celebrities and stuff. So that's the little perks I get. And this is encouraging, and I really appreciate this, dude. You wrote this to me clearly a month ago, but it's pretty germane right now because, well, most of these things are all things I've said. Look at this. He made me an old school kind of birthday card. And he's going through so many things. A republic, if you can keep it. You guys give me encouragement. Absolute power corrupts absolutely, which means there are actually people listening and hanging out and getting encouragement. And I like what he added down here. This is what you guys need to take from this. Here's some encouragement for you all. We don't have boating accidents. I get it. It's a joke. Like, I lost my guns in a boating accident, but man, it's... No, we don't need boating accidents, guys. What if the founding fathers had a boating accident on Concord Bridge? You know what I mean? In 1775, if you looked at it that way. Look at this. And this is what we're going to end on here, because tomorrow I will be on Locals, which is another site where I can definitely touch guns live. It says right here, check me out on Locals, where I can actually show cool stuff. It's the truth. I want to show all of you guys as much as I can. It's just literally like I'm not allowed to do so much cool stuff when I'm here on YouTube, right? What are we talking about here? I'm just gonna take a look at the chat real quick, but definitely check me out on Locals where I can do more stuff. What's happening, Just Plinkin? Nice to see you, man. You've been around the channel a long time. I don't always see you live, but I know you've been around, man. Bill Camperus, how you doing, dude? Nice to see you. James Kawasaki, what's up, man? Lots of good people in here. Ron Wayne, Patch. Did someone say Patch? Are you holding strong, Misty? Look, there's different multicolors of 2A EDU patches. Some of you guys have certain colors, some of you don't. To be honest, they're pretty hard to get. Now, that's not because I'm really stingy or greedy. It's just because, like, well, I was spending like hours today beating wheel studs out. I'm always all over the place, spread too thin. That's why they're hard to get more than anything. But they're hard to get. And Ron Wayne was building up the perfect collection. I said, here you go. And I sent the FDE one to Misty, just to put a wrench in his spokes. And I like you a lot, Ron. You're a good friend, but you know what? Misty Wayne, she's been doing some cool swag, so she kind of bribed me to take her side, sending swag to the channel to send off to people, and I'm hoping she's standing strong with that FDE 2A EDU patch. And by the way, Misty, people are happy with those ammo can labels, and I know some people, one of my friends, like, I have to say in real life, meaning like he was in my shop earlier today is what I mean by that. He was like, I'm going to have to get a hold of Misty. I want some of those, so he was going to talk to you about buying some. What's happening, Gail? How's it going, Gabby? Nice to see you. You can tap out, Linda, if you need to go to sleep. I know you're super tired. There you go. Okay. Okay, Misty's on the right. See, right there. I'm not joking when I say this stuff. These are friends of mine, but I'm being pretty blunt about this topic. Slowly getting better. Well, I guess take it any way you can get it, but that sucks. You've been sick for what, 2 years now almost? Year and a half? God bless you, Jane. Hey, if you're getting better though, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you want certain things, and then sometimes you're just happy to take with what you can get, right? Yeah, Misty, it's my friend Frank. He was talking about some for himself, maybe go in on an envelope full of them for the guys at work. I'll put him in touch with you. I have your email address. He said, how much does she charge? I said, I have no idea, but I'm sure whatever it is, she's going to be fair about it. So whatever. I don't know. But yeah, he said that he really liked those. And here's the cool thing. I had a couple of them still sitting here because Linda mailed most of them out, but I still had like the 5.56 and the 7.62 by 39. He's like, no, dude, send those to one of your viewers, even though he's like a paid local supporter too and stuff. He's like, I want to reach out to her on my own. So I will put him in touch. I'm just taking a quick peek at the chat. What's happening, White Space Marines? How's it going? Kurt 24. What if I have to pay my postage? Dude, I don't. I have a secret for you, Dark. I know where. Look, it's not your fault because it's crazy how it worked out. But I know where you like went wrong, if you even want to call it that. I'll tell you this. This will help you guys if you're content creators. Okay. And tell me if I'm wrong, Linda. Linda handles all my shipping of swag and perks for people. But let me get this right, Linda. If these would have stayed in the envelope side by side, okay, you would have still had to pay the extra non-machinable. But what happened is they shifted. And they both became too wide to go through the slot. And I think that's why they made it as a package. Lyndon actually knows more about this than me. There's Frank Hunt. That's who I was talking about. I'll put you guys in touch, Frank, because those are pretty cool. Let's talk, Frank. Let's me and you talk this weekend, Frank. Then we'll get a hold of Misty. I want to see if she can do like a whole stack of them and we can go in on them together because I want some for the shop because I gave away all the ones she gave me except for like 2 that I'm going to give away soon. And then I wouldn't mind taking some to the local gun shop, and let's get together, Frank, and then we'll get a hold of Misty. All right. These shifted together, dude. So like Linda said, they have to be less than. So what I think you need to do next time is the paper kind of kept them separate. You need to take but it's a 5-line, dude. They have to be less than a 1/4 inch. Take like an index card or something a little more rigid and tape them to it. Tape them to something a little, but not too thick, to where they can't do the old shuffle. Like they will nail you on this stuff. Like literally nail you on like every technicality they can. And here's my suspicion. I'm not gonna bore you guys too much longer. But Linda said she's trolling people on Twitter. I bet you $1 when this got to the sorting facility, because I know how these people roll. It was probably, they're like, that's barely a 1/4 inch, right? Just think about this, guys. This is the government, okay? This is a 1/4 inch. Hold on. $3.49. You guys, yeah. Anyways, what do you think, Band Talk? Do you think they would do that? I don't know. Elon is still anti-2A. Most people are anti-2A. I don't know if he is or not, actually. I don't really pay too much attention to Elon Musk right now. In other words, is he better than some? Well, probably. Has he gotten somewhat red-pilled? Sure. I don't know. I'm not going to be with him either. Let's just put it that way. I don't think I'm going to be with him. Yeah, Mateo's right. We've talked about that a lot before. Just because someone has a couple conservative talking points, right? You know what I'm saying? They have a couple conservative talking points. I don't know what he is, okay? He said he's going to vote Republican. I don't know. What about Mitch? Mitch McConnell. He said that he's going to negotiate and talk about gun control, didn't he? He's the definition of a Republican. He's the definition of a Republican. He's the leader of the Republican Party in the Senate. Yes, he is from South Africa. It was funny. I was just talking to someone the other day. I said, he's from Africa. And they're like, there's white people in Africa? And I'm like, South Africa? Well, is it South Africa or Africa? I'm like, well, both and stuff. It was a weird conversation. And it's like, yeah, Africa's a continent. And there's a country within there called South Africa. And there's some white people that live there. Is that true, guys? What do you guys think? Let's take a quick poll in the chat. Do I do nothing but buffer every 4 to 5 seconds for 2 years straight for everybody? Because I watch my stuff on replay, and if I was buffering, or do you think maybe Joe Green has needed to get it? Joe, I think maybe you needed your internet connection to get fixed for the last 2 years. You know what I mean? We're going to draw a line in the sand, guys. Joe Green, God bless you, Joe Green. But look, dude, you want to leave me a comment like this? You put yourself out there in the public, so. Joe Green was going to be there for me. I was surrounded. The redcoats were coming. And he was with me. But he couldn't be. Because he stopped watching my channel. Because he hasn't fixed his internet in 2 years. I get it, dude. The internet's way more important. Get your internet fixed, Joe, okay? Dude, you do nothing but buffer for every 4 to 5 seconds. This is hilarious. This shows you where people are at right now. And, man, I'm sorry you're having a bad day, Joe. You know what I mean? I mean, you can come in here and poison my well a little bit, but I'm going to stand up for myself. Get your internet fixed, dude. You know what I mean? This is hilarious. Someone comes in earlier and they come into my video and they said there's no sound on this video. And I said, I don't know, dude, what to tell you. Like, turn your volume up. I mean, I've got like, let me see. I've got 376 thumbs ups. So I guess that's how many liked it. Okay. 3,900 views. This is in the last 12 hours. And how many comments? 141 comments. Dude strolls in. I recognize him as a regular. He comes in and he says, dude, there's no sound. You put a video with no sound. I'm like, oh, really? Now you would think in a normal America that he'd be like, well, hold on a minute. There's 3,899 people that didn't have a problem. So it must be something wrong with my sound. Oh, no, though. No. Not a true conservative that is very rational, very calm, cool, and collected. No, not in the year 2022. No, he doubles down and he says, dude, you literally put this video without sound. I'm like, dude, 3,899 people all had sound. You're the only one that didn't. Do you think it's something wrong with my video still? Or would you like to reconsider? And he comes back and said something. I can't remember. And then he was gone. Did anybody see? Did anyone get any sound on my Taurus G3? Remember I was doing the premiere and there was a couple hundred people in here watching. You guys were listening to me talking. Okay. You guys were. Just as some of you guys thought I was making this stuff up, I can't actually make it up, actually. Oh, boy. If I stay on here much longer, what's happened, Harry Grumley? How you doing, man? Nice to see you. If I stay on here much longer, someone's going to come in here and say that I ruined the G3 Tactical by dry firing it 6 times. One more quick story. Maybe you guys can help them out. This is still a comment, I believe. I don't moderate my own comments, guys, so I don't know. Or my chats as far as that goes. But last time I checked on my G3 Tactical, someone comes in and says, you're going to destroy that gun from dry firing it. I said, really? Would you care to tell me which parts I'm going to destroy? And then I put a link in directly from Taurus's website themselves, where like literally Taurus says you can dry fire the G3. If you guys are bored, maybe you'll want to have a conversation with that person. So sights are tall to use with a suppressor. Okay. Some of the stuff's pretty funny. There's some funny ones that were making me laugh here. Someone said I was going to ruin my gun from dry firing it, right? I guess I faked quite a few people out. They thought Taurus was gonna make a high power clone. This is funny. Dark Mavis, dude, you ruined the Taurus G3 by dry firing it 6 times. I was in the comments. Come on, man. Look at Ron Wayne. Ugh. The recent FDE patch. I thought I sent you another rare patch, though, to make up for that. Didn't I? Refresh my memory. I think we did. I'm not sure. Wilhelm Scream, you were in the G3 Tactical before anyone else got to try it because you looked at it wrong. I'm an expert on them, even though I've never touched one yet. I can just tell. That sums up a lot. That sums up a lot, actually. Yep. Gail said 5 times was fine. The 6th time, it just ruined it. There's some old guns you guys don't want to dry fire, though. There are. Some of the older rim fires, you know. Thank you for giving me a like, DLD. Thanks, man. I'm just having fun, guys, right now. It's just funny. I don't know. Splitting skulls, David. It sure seems some people lack critical thinking skills. Obviously. Obviously on that. Ronnie Thompson. What? I can't hear you. Jeez, oh Pete. Thanks, Rudy. How you doing, man? Yeah, you have a good, happy holiday weekend, man, and God bless you too. Just remember all the fallen, guys. That's what this is for. This is for the... Look, we appreciate our veterans, people that have been following their oath every day, of course, but this isn't for the veterans. This is for the people that are no longer with us. I mean, they're still veterans, but you know what I'm saying. This is not a holiday for the living people. This is a holiday for those that have fallen. What's happening, Dale? How you doing, man? Worked for GM at the Proving Grounds. Saw some never-seen Pontiac cars. Dude, that is tough for me, guys. I wasn't just being sarcastic. Like, I'm completely genuine with you guys in these reviews, and I was like, dude, you guys have no idea. I can't remember my exact wording because I don't use a script, but I said something in that Taurus G3 Tactivator, like, dude, you guys have no idea how much it drives me crazy. Like, I've got this pistol. I want to talk about it. I want to, like, have other people shoot it. Like, look, I mean, you're not even literally supposed to, like, tell, like, your own wife. Like, they're really, really strict about this stuff that comes out ahead of time. It's called an NDA, you know? JJ Rainey, yes, I definitely want to, and I just need to get my feet on solid ground. I don't know if you're in here earlier. I'm not going to repeat it and bore everybody, but I've had a tough go around the last few weeks with the rain and these random breakdowns. I need to get my schedule back on solid ground again, and I do want to plan it because I'm heading down south later this fall, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. But probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most is having a meet up in Michigan again like we did before. What's going on, Dale Kawasaki? The Pontiac Banshee he's talking about was a sweet concept. Kurt, it's called Supermatch G and A. It's in Newport, Michigan. Supermatch G and symbol A. Look it up. Go in there, and my friend Matt should be working. He's the owner, works all the time, and tell him 2AEDU sent you. He's a good friend of mine. We have no type of referral deal, anything like that at all. It's just, he's just a good friend of mine, and he actually helps the channel out a lot behind the scenes, guys. I get tons of stuff transferred, even if it's stuff that I'm buying for my, not just for my PC, but for the channel. People send me stuff to test and evaluate. Sometimes I send it back. Sometimes I buy it. Sometimes there's a discount. Sometimes it just depends. There's different variables. No two things are exactly alike. But with that said, there's a lot of transfer fees that come in and out. And I'm not going to give you guys the specifics, but he helps me out the best he can on those, and is actually a big supporter of the channel that way. That's true, Jane. Too many of her fellow Vietnam veterans aren't with us because they were protecting freedom and liberty. Don't ever tread on me. I know. We lost a lot of people in Vietnam. A lot. A lot. I mean, we've lost a lot of people, period, in foreign wars, haven't we? And domestic. I don't know, man. I'm not a red dot expert. I've been liking my Kingslayers, you know? Is that budget? Everyone has a different opinion of budget. I'm going to tell you guys this, then I do have to go. Because Linda's ready to pass out. Mateo's probably tired. But anyways. Look, I know you were just asking me a simple question, Mark, and I appreciate the question, okay? And I'm not putting words in your mouth at all, but this question is something that appears to be so simple, but it's so complicated. This is the most complicated question ever, and here's why. The gun community has no type of agreement whatsoever on what a budget optic is. And when I even broach this topic, this is yet another thing that gets people angry. Don't get angry, guys. I'm just giving you my opinion. In almost all cases, a $25, $35, $50 optic, that's not a budget optic, it's garbage. Most of the time, in my opinion, My opinion is backed up with lots of real life experience and true stories from others. So it's an opinion with, to me, a budget optic is $200-300. Maybe 150. Like my Kingslayers I got for less than 100, but that's only because it was day after Thanksgiving sale. They already had them discounted, then it was buy two get one free, so I cost averaged them down to $100 a piece. But they're not $100 optic. I just got they probably sold them at a loss or at their cost for a big blowout Black Friday sale. Okay, so if you get something like that, that's fine. But if the everyday price on your red dot or optic is $20-25, it is most likely, I'm just going to say this because there's no absolutes in anything in life. If you ever say something is always this way, you're always going to be wrong. I've been around the world long enough to know that. But if you're a betting person, just realize that budget optics start at a couple $100 and probably more like 150. Okay. So with that said, I'm going to call the Swamp Fox Kingslayer budget because it's their cheapest one. I've got rounds through them. I like the circle dot reticle, okay? Now, I know they have two that are still pretty much within the budget line. And I know, Mateo, you have a couple of them. I see DLD does, the Liberty and the Justice from Swamp Fox. Those are still considered budget, okay? Did you find me through my Craig Jorgensen video, Ron Wayne? Dude, that just shows you how there's little miracles in life. Like, I feel like I'm such good friends with you and your wife, and Linda loves you guys to death, and that's like one of my least viewed videos I've ever had on YouTube, dude. You found me through that video where I showed some of the U.S. milsurps? Dude, one of my least viewed videos. Ron and Misty are part of the family now. Isn't that crazy? Just shows you how life works, doesn't it? That's cool, man. I don't care how many people watch the videos. If I want to do a video, I'm going to do the video. My JSD supply videos are the least viewed videos I think I've ever had in the history of the channel. Nobody cares about JSD supply statistically. But I'm really happy I put those videos out too. Just like that old Craig Jorgensen video. Dude, like nobody hardly watched that video, but you did. That's pretty cool, man. Hollow Sun has a great reputation. I need another I need a deal on one dark actually, because I have a G3 tactical that I was going to rob the optic from my dagger, but I got to do a follow-up review on that dagger, so I'd rather not rob it and keep messing zero up every single time. If you can help me get a deal, let me know, because I need one for... You want to know what's messed up, dude? I am so busy all the time. I actually talked to somebody from that company, and they said, pick out what you want. And I got so busy and so just disoriented with my hectic life, I never even got back to him. But I've been talking about the Swamp Fox optics a lot, guys. I don't know anybody personally from Swamp Fox. I mean, I met the guy. He was really nice on the phone, but we don't know each other. They've never sent me any products for free or anything. Here we go. Here's a box. I can show you guys an empty box. This was down like on the floor. My shop's so dirty on the floor from tracking mud in. I don't know. It's probably go with some other people's advice and move up to I need a decent, whether it's with Swamp Fox or Hollow Sun. I did talk to the VP of Sales and Marketing. It was just a few months back, and he might have thought I blew him off because I was a jerk, but I just had too many crazy things going on at the time with my business. But look, the Liberty and Justice might be a better bang for the buck. Help each other out in the chat, guys. I'm trying to encourage this conversation for you all to help each other. I have Hollow Sun, some of their little bit bigger ones that go on more like an AR. I have a couple things that are Vortex, but they're larger items. I love my Hollow Sun 407 that's on my GX4 Toro. Love, love, love that one. So I'm gonna say Hollow Sun seems to be pretty darn good to go, guys. I know the cheaper Kingslayer, in my opinion, this is like awesome. Like I really like this, but I'm not a fancy dude, okay? I mean, can you guys tell? I'm not a fancy dude. To me, this is like, if you guys didn't tell me different, I would think this was the Cadillac model. I actually love it. Even though the battery life sucks, but it's got a side loading battery, so whatever, right? My Hollow Suns have been very good. Trigicon, they're 5 miles from here. Those are awesome ones. Dude, I have okay, I can't touch guns right now, but if we were in locals, I'd literally grab it. My Pro 2A Tactical. Awesome company. Check out locals for details on that, guys. My 45 ACP carbine has a Scholar Works knockoff mount with one of these Kingslayers on it. So absolutely. And if you have the money, the real Scholar Works is better, but the knockoff's acceptable. The screw's a little funny, but the Scholar Works style mount to me is just like awesome for a little like PCC. Oh yeah. Wilhelm Scream. I don't have any affiliation with those guys. I do have a Brown Ellis link, for example, over there on my locals account. If you bought it through there, you could help the channel out. I don't know. I'm only saying I don't know. Look, guys, I just have my experience, and I really like the little hollow sun that's on my Toro, my GX4 Toro. That's good to go. I have Kingslayers on 3 different firearms right now between Taurus, a 45 ACP from Pro 2A Tactical, AR 15 carbine, you know, and then I've got the dagger. Let's see here. Pistols don't need red dots. The pistol doesn't need a red dot at all, actually. Actually, that's a very, very smart comment, guys. The pistol doesn't need anything. It's an inanimate object. It's neither good nor evil. It's definitely not alive. It absolutely has no needs whatsoever. However, people individually will decide what they need to protect themselves with their pistol. But no, I actually agree. I think that was funny how you worded that. The pistol actually doesn't need anything. It doesn't need ammo. You know what I'm saying? Okay, you guys are kind of going back and forth. I think this is just friendly banner about right. I'm not sure. Are you guys being friendly or not? It's hard to tell. I'll tell you what, dude, I've never tried to look cool. I'm just so awesome and cool. Like, I don't even have to try it all, and I just am. So, I don't know what to tell you, my man. So, I don't know. It's like when you just are, you don't even know what it's like to try, to be honest with you. You guys are messing with each other. Okay, good. I don't know if green dot sights are any easier to see than red. That's a debate for the years, guys. I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced. I have both, and I don't know. Oh boy, I think my wife's probably asleep at this point. I'm going really late tonight, guys. It's just I wanted to talk about a bunch of tough topics tonight, and you guys are kind of just chilling right now. If anyone needs to go to sleep, they definitely can. See, look at like Scott Williams, long time. I mean, you've been hanging out forever, dude. He just came in to say hi. He's been around this channel for a couple of years. We the People, another awesome person. Well, I want to let me show you there. What's happening, We the People? Yeah, there's like scientific evidence and stuff, and I get it. That's true. I'm not even like being sarcastic with anybody. I get it. They say it's literally like provable that green's an easier color on your eye. I don't doubt that science. I found when I was shooting over like lush green grass that happened to be very close to the color of the green dot, it actually made it a lot harder to see. I have had that happen before. Okay, so Guys, look, I love all kinds of guns, and a lot of times I just get guns because you all want to know about them. And like I've been collecting guns since I was 15 years old, 1994. What almost excites me more than anything, once in a while I'll see something I really want for myself, but what actually excites me the most about guns nowadays, to be honest, besides the whole life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and protecting my family, but you only need a couple for that, right? Is when I have viewers saying, "What about this? What about that? We all want to see this. We're all excited about this new one. Will you try this out? Will you tell us about that?" You guys, all right, I'll take those generous super chats and Patreon supporters and channel members and those of you over on locals that use my links, and I'll just go in and grab all that up, throw it together, and buy one of these, buy one of those, this ammo, that ammo. That's actually kind of like what my preference is lately, is just getting stuff here for the channel that you guys all want to talk about. I'm almost having more fun hanging out with all these guns than like having the guns myself, if that even makes any sense. Some of the stuff, like if I didn't have a YouTube channel, some of the stuff you guys see me doing would bore you silly. Another SKS? Well, hold on. It's almost like that other one, but hold on a minute. That's not just a Romania. The serial number starts in an R instead of a V. And did you know that during this range, they allocated some of these on contract over to Libya or over to wherever? I mean, the Chinese SKSs in this date range were contract over to Egypt. And like, I'll literally buy two SKSs, look exactly alike, but the one will be in a serial number range, and the bluing will be a little bit different. The furniture will have a different hue to it, and the sling will be a different color. And I'll get like super excited about it. Like I get into some really nerdy stuff, believe it or not. But the main thing I'm having fun with is just stuff that you guys are into, because it's just fun to talk about and hang out, and you know what I'm saying? Steve0545, how's it going, man? Thanks for being a channel supporter. Spending your first night of freedom in Tennessee, sold and moved out of Los Angeles, and just drove 3. Did you seriously just do it, dude? Wow. Congratulations, man. Are you seriously spending your first night in Tennessee? Dude, I am so happy, guys. That just literally made my night. Man. All right, I'll stop talking about SKSs. I saw you, hijabs. I get into all kinds of random stuff, guys. That's why I'm so eclectic and I can sit and talk about almost anything. Because I do listen. When people come in and say stuff, I listen. And a lot of times people are right. Tennessee's a cool state. I'll be driving through Tennessee, I guess, in a few months again. Time flies. In about 4 more months or so. 3.5 more months. I don't know. Oh, geez. You guys are calling the cops on each other? Yeah, man, that's up to the community over there, Kurt. I agree. Time flies over there. The bigger my community is, the longer I can stream. But it's good, man. There's a lot of us over there. More than I ever would have thought. Thanks, Jeff. Thank you, Matt. Edward Kent gave this to me, guys. That's his YouTube name. I don't know if he's in here tonight. Edward Kent sent this to me, which was awesome. Marco Polo sent me some stuff that I'm going to give away that I can't show on YouTube because it's prohibited. And my friend Dauntless Defense sent a couple cool things. I'm going to show you guys a teaser, and then I'm going to get out of here. I don't know which of this I'm going to do on YouTube or locals or Patreon or whatever, but these are like awesome. So I got a few of these. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. It's slowly but surely getting hotter and hotter. Oh, yeah, it's back up to about 80 degrees in this shop. And I need to finish doing some last-minute trailer wiring and cut like 30 hours of lawns tomorrow in one day because they've grown like a foot. So, Bill Campras, still a little ways off, you know. I mean, you know how the gun community is, man. I know you're a supporter over there. A lot of you guys are, but people come and go from there too for many reasons, because they get they're just having financial difficulties, which I totally understand. And sometimes, you know, they'll do the whole came for your guns and came for the guns and left for the politics over there too. You know, it happens. You know what I'm saying? All right, guys, it's been great chatting with you guys tonight. What's happening, Bill Alexander? All right, good night, Pillbox Bunker. Congratulations yet again, Steve-O. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I'll see you guys on Vocals tomorrow. And I'm going to have a couple videos on YouTube in the meantime. And I suppose I'll probably, maybe, definitely be back here next Friday. And if I forget something somebody sent me, I will talk about it tomorrow on Locals. All right, guys, thanks for watching and have a good one.